Ever watched a perfectly good Toyota transmission die a slow, expensive death? I have, and it's not pretty. Just last month, I had a customer bring in a Camry with only 85,000 miles on it. It needed a complete transmission rebuild. Cost him over $4,000. The worst part? It was completely avoidable. Automatic transmissions are masterpieces of engineering, but they're also delicate when mistreated. Most Toyota owners assume they can just throw it in drive and forget about it. But that set it and forget it mindset is exactly what kills transmissions long before their time. Your Toyota's automatic transmission isn't just a box of gears. It's a complex hydraulic system made up of clutch packs, solenoids, valve bodies, and computer controls, all working in perfect synchronization. When everything's right, it's silky smooth. But when something goes wrong, it goes wrong fast and expensively. What most drivers don't realize is that transmission damage rarely happens overnight. It builds slowly, one bad habit at a time, until it's too late to save. If you want your Toyota to stay bulletproof, hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach more owners who need this advice. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm constantly dropping new Toyota-specific tips on reliability, maintenance, and ownership. And drop a comment below with your Toyota's year, model, and mileage. I see every comment, and I love hearing what everyone's driving and how it's holding up. Now, let's get into it. These are habits that destroy automatic transmissions, and most drivers don't even know they're doing them. Number 1. The neutral drop. This one's the transmission killer I see the most. It's called a neutral drop, and it's one of the fastest ways to turn your Toyota's gearbox into a pile of expensive metal shavings. Some drivers think it's harmless, or even fun, to rev the engine in neutral and then slam it into drive for a quick launch. Maybe they saw it in a movie or heard about it from a buddy who knows cars. But here's the truth. It's mechanical abuse, plain and simple. Inside your transmission is something called a torque converter. Think of it like two fans facing each other in a pool of transmission fluid. When the engine spins one fan, it moves the fluid, which spins the other fan connected to your transmission. That's how power gets transferred smoothly. But when you rev in neutral and then drop it into drive, you send a massive shockwave through the entire system. All that built-up engine speed suddenly slams into gears, clutch packs, and seals that were never meant to absorb that kind of impact. You might hear a loud clunk or feel a hard jolt, and think, okay, that was weird. But the damage is already done. Over time, those internal parts start wearing out, faster, fluid pressure drops, and eventually something fails completely. And when it does, you're looking at $5,000 or $6,000 in repairs. Number 2. Using the wrong transmission fluid. This one sounds simple, but it's one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Toyota transmissions are designed around extremely specific fluid chemistry. The viscosity, friction modifiers, and heat resistance are all tuned to match your transmission's design perfectly, especially with Toyota's world standard fluid. I've seen countless owners ruin transmissions because a quick lube shop used a universal fluid or the wrong type altogether. Your Camry, Corolla, RAV4, or Highlander was never meant to run on generic fluid. The wrong stuff leads to erratic shifting, overheating, and internal wear that only gets worse over time. And if you're driving a newer Toyota with a CVT transmission, the risk is even greater. Those systems depend on the exact fluid formula to maintain belt tension and cooling. One wrong service and you can destroy a transmission that would have lasted hundreds of thousands of miles. What makes this mistake so dangerous is that it often takes months for the symptoms to show. The car feels fine at first, maybe a slight hesitation or rough shift that you ignore. But that wrong fluid is quietly breaking down seals, burning clutches, and cooking valve body components. Then, one day, it all fails. No warning, no second chances. Always use Toyota-approved fluid. Never trust a mechanic who says, it's all the same stuff. Because it's not. Number 3. Not using the parking brake. This one surprises a lot of people. Most Toyota owners assume shifting into park is enough when they stop. But the P on your shifter doesn't mean your transmission is magically locking the car safely in place. What's actually holding it is a small piece of metal inside your transmission called a parking pawl. When you shift into park, that pawl drops into a slot on the output shaft to stop the wheels from turning. It's strong, but it's not built to hold your car's entire weight, especially on a hill. When you rely only on park, all that stress sits directly on that one tiny part. Over time, it can bend, wear down, or even break completely. I've seen cars roll away down driveways because the parking pawl failed after years of abuse. Using the parking brake relieves that pressure. It locks the wheels mechanically and takes the load off your transmission entirely. It's a simple step that adds years to your gearbox's life and might just prevent your Toyota from rolling into traffic one day. Number 4. Braking with your left foot. This one's more common than you'd think, and it's not just bad driving form. Some people try to brake with their left foot and accelerate with their right, thinking it gives them faster reaction time or more control, especially after watching race car drivers do it. But in a street-driven Toyota, this habit is dangerous and damaging. Your body builds muscle memory for driving. When you learn to drive, your brain connects braking with your right foot, instinctively. In a panic stop, your reaction will follow that instinct. But if you've been braking with your left foot, your muscle memory gets confused. That split-second hesitation or accidental double-pedal press can cause disaster. Mechanically, pressing both pedals at once, intentionally or not, creates constant strain on your transmission and torque converter. You're basically telling your car to accelerate and brake at the same time. The converter overheats, the clutches slip, and over time, you'll burn through internal components that were never designed for that abuse. If you're finding this helpful, hit that like button and share this video with any Toyota owners you know. The next few habits I'm about to cover are just as critical, some of them even more surprising. And trust me, you'll want to know them before they cost you thousands. The next habit might shock you because it seems harmless on the surface. I'm talking about shifting into neutral while coasting downhill. A lot of Toyota drivers think they're being clever, saving fuel by letting the car roll freely while the engine just idles. The logic sounds solid. Disconnect the engine from the wheels, let gravity do the work, and watch your fuel economy rise. But this move doesn't save you gas, and it's quietly putting you in danger. When you shift into neutral on a downhill stretch, you're cutting your car's brain off from its body. The wheels are moving, but the engine isn't helping in any way. That means two big problems. You lose instant power if you need to accelerate, and you lose engine braking, the built-in slowing force your engine provides when it's connected to the drivetrain. Picture this. You're coasting downhill in neutral and traffic suddenly slows ahead. You can't accelerate to merge or escape danger, and your only option is to ride the brakes harder. Not only is that risky, but it also overheats your braking system and wears it out faster. Here's what smart Toyota drivers do instead. Use your transmission's manual modes, those 3, 2, or L positions, or paddle shifters on newer models. Downshifting into a lower gear lets the engine control your speed naturally. This simple technique reduces brake wear, improves control, and keeps the transmission engaged so you can react instantly if something changes ahead. And about those supposed fuel savings, they're pure myths. Modern Toyota engines are engineered to sip fuel intelligently. When you're coasting in drive, the ECU often cuts fuel delivery completely. Shifting to neutral does nothing but remove control and increase risk. You're trading safety for zero benefit. Number 5. Resting your hand on the shifter. This is one habit even good drivers are guilty of. You're cruising along, maybe on a long stretch of highway, and your right hand just naturally settles on the gear shifter. It feels casual, maybe even comfortable, but that tiny bit of pressure is doing real damage. Your Toyota's shifter is connected to delicate linkage and detent mechanisms inside the transmission. They're designed to move freely only when you're actually changing gears. Resting your hand there puts a small but constant force on that linkage, creating friction and wear over time. It's like lightly pressing your foot on the brake pedal for hours. You won't notice right away, but you're grinding down components that aren't meant for that stress. At first, you might notice subtle changes. Shifts start feeling notchy, or you hear a faint clicking sound. But as the years pass, that gentle pressure adds up. The result is sloppy gear engagement, unpredictable shifts, and eventually a repair bill that can reach into the thousands. There's also a safety angle most people overlook. When your hand is resting on the shifter, it's not on the wheel. That means less control when you suddenly need to swerve or make a quick correction. One split second can be the difference between avoiding an accident and being in one. Toyota designed that shifter to be used, not leaned on. Keep both hands on the wheel and only reach for the shifter when you actually need it. Your transmission will last longer, your steering control will improve, and you'll drive safer overall. Number 6. Mishandling transmission fluid. Now we get to a mistake that can destroy not just your transmission, but your engine too. It's one I see all the time: overfilling transmission fluid or letting it get contaminated with water. A lot of Toyota owners think more fluid equals more protection. They'll top it off just in case, figuring extra lubrication can't hurt. But that's not how it works. Transmission systems are precision calibrated for a specific amount of fluid. When you overfill it, the excess fluid gets whipped around by moving parts, creating bubbles and foam. That foamy fluid doesn't lubricate. It actually starves your transmission of pressure and cooling. Think of it like shaking a soda bottle. All those bubbles trap air and the liquid loses its stability. Inside your Toyota's transmission, those air pockets cause erratic pressure spikes that wear down seals, clutches, and gears. Over time, this kind of neglect turns a reliable gearbox into an overheating, slipping nightmare. Now let's add water contamination to the mix. It's one of the most catastrophic problems a Toyota transmission can face. Water seeps in through floodwater, condensation, or even a minor leak in the cooling system. When it mixes with transmission fluid, you end up with a milky, sludgy mess that ruins everything it touches. I've seen this happen countless times. A driver goes through a puddle that seemed harmless, and weeks later their transmission starts slipping or overheating. The breather vent lets in just enough water to contaminate the system, and the damage spreads fast. Once that mixture circulates, it eats away at friction plates, corrodes metal surfaces, and ruins seals. Even if you flush the system immediately, the internal damage often can't be undone. Worse yet, a compromised transmission puts extra stress on your engine. When the transmission can't transfer power efficiently, the engine has to work harder to keep up. That extra load shortens engine life and pushes wear into other components, from mounts to cooling systems. The fix is simple but essential. Check your transmission fluid regularly and correctly. Most Toyota automatics should be checked with the engine warm and running, transmission in park, and the car on level ground. Always use the exact fluid Toyota specifies, nothing else. Stick to service intervals. And most importantly, never drive through standing water that reaches the bottom of your doors. Keeping that fluid clean and properly filled protects both your transmission and your engine. It's a simple habit that can easily add 50,000 extra miles to your Toyota's lifespan and keep you from facing a repair bill that could buy you another car. If you're getting value from this breakdown, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. The next section dives into habits that wear out transmissions silently. Things most drivers never even realize they're doing until it's too late. The patterns I see in shops every single week tell a clear story. The Toyota owners who follow these simple habits, checking their fluid, using the parking brake, avoiding aggressive driving, are the ones still cruising at 300,000 miles with smooth shifting transmissions. The ones who don't? They're usually in my shop before they hit 100,000, holding a repair bill that costs more than their car's worth. Your Toyota wasn't built to be a race car, but some people treat it like one. Hard launches, constant flooring of the gas pedal, and red light drag races might look fun for a moment, but they're quietly shaving years off your transmission's life. These systems are tough, but they're not indestructible. Aggressive driving habits create violent pressure spikes, extreme heat, and wear patterns that slowly grind away the inside of your gearbox. When you slam the throttle from a dead stop, your transmission has to absorb a massive surge of power and torque all at once. Those internal clutch packs are designed to engage smoothly and progressively, but sudden throttle inputs force them to grab hard. The friction material overheats, the fluid breaks down, and before long you're dealing with rough shifts, slipping gears, or complete failure. The same thing happens when you're constantly racing up to speed limits or trying to out-accelerate traffic. Every time you do, your transmission fluid temperature climbs. What should have been a component that lasts 200,000 miles might start showing problems at 80,000 instead. Smart Toyota owners drive differently. They accelerate smoothly, give the transmission time to shift naturally, and let the car do what it was engineered to do: deliver quiet, reliable power. You'll not only save your transmission but also improve fuel efficiency and preserve that smooth signature Toyota feel. Remember, you're not trying to win a race. You're trying to make your car last another decade. Number 7. Ignoring the warning signs. This one's the silent killer of Toyota transmissions. Maybe your Camry hesitates just a little when shifting from first to second. Maybe your RAV4 gives off a faint whining noise at certain speeds. Most people dismiss these as quirks, assuming they'll work themselves out. But transmissions don't heal themselves. Those are early warning signs, and ignoring them turns small issues into catastrophic failures. I've seen it too many times. A customer brings in a car that's been hesitating for months. What could have been a $300 valve body fix turns into a $3,000 rebuild. Or worse, the vehicle needs a replacement transmission entirely. A slight shudder, a delayed shift, a strange noise. These are your car's way of asking for help before it's too late. If your transmission starts behaving differently than it used to, don't wait. Get it checked by a technician who understands Toyota systems. A proper diagnostic might cost $100, but it could save you thousands. The key is early action. Every mile you drive with a malfunctioning transmission multiplies the damage exponentially. Number 8. Overloading your Toyota. This one might sound obvious, but it's a mistake I see every summer. Owners overloading their vehicles beyond what the transmission was designed to handle. Maybe it's a Highlander towing a boat that's too heavy, or a Sienna packed floor to ceiling for a road trip. I've even seen Corolla owners trying to haul loads meant for a pickup truck. Every Toyota has a specific weight limit, carefully calculated by engineers to protect the transmission, cooling system, and suspension. When you exceed it, even a little, you're forcing the transmission to handle more torque, more heat, and more resistance than it's built for. Over time, that excess strain cooks your fluid, wears out clutch packs, and can permanently damage the torque converter. Towing is especially tough. Even if your Toyota is rated to tow a certain weight, doing it frequently without auxiliary cooling will shorten its life dramatically. The fluid temperature spikes, friction material breaks down, and before long you're feeling those familiar slipping and jerking symptoms that signal trouble. The fix is simple. Respect your vehicle's limits. Check the tow rating and payload capacity listed in your owner's manual. Include passengers, cargo, and tongue weight in your total. And if you consistently push your vehicle's limits, it might be time to upgrade to something built for heavier work, like a Sequoia, Tacoma, or Tundra. Number 9. Confusing the transmission's brain. Modern Toyota transmissions are smarter than ever. They use adaptive learning systems that constantly monitor your driving style and adjust shift timing, pressure, and responsiveness accordingly. It's an incredible feature, but it only works when you're consistent. When you drive erratically, sometimes gentle, sometimes aggressive, sometimes braking while accelerating, you're teaching the transmission conflicting behaviors. The computer doesn't know whether to shift early for smoothness or hold gears longer for power. The result is sloppy, unpredictable shifting that accelerates wear. In other words, your driving habits literally train your transmission. Treat it like a calm, steady system and it'll reward you with seamless operation. Drive it like you're in a constant rush and it'll learn to fight itself trying to keep up. The difference between a Toyota that glides past 300,000 miles and one that dies at 80,000 comes down to habits like these. Avoid neutral drops. Use the correct fluid. Engage your parking brake. Keep your feet where they belong. Don't coast in neutral. Keep your hands off the shifter. And always maintain proper fluid levels. If this breakdown helped you understand how to protect your Toyota's transmission, hit that like button and subscribe for more expert advice that keeps your ride reliable, smooth, and strong for years to come.